It's some pretty shocking video. It's a teenager rapping, but what is so disturbing about this, which you will see in a moment, is that he and the other young people in this video are brandishing guns. And this begs the question, why? It glorifies what seems to have become an epidemic, gun violence among our youth. Just last night, 6 people were shot in Gentilly, including a young boy. And last Saturday was the bloodiest day this year in New Orleans, and all 13 people were shot. Police arrested this suspect, Deshaun Harris, who will celebrate his 18th birthday today. Harris is accused of shooting 3 people in New Orleans East. And police are still searching for the gunman who shot and killed 3 men in their early 20s outside of a birthday party on Tulane Avenue. So this morning we have to take a stand, and we're talking to 3 guests. We have a panel of guests, and we first have Devin Roussel. His family has been troubled and dealt with drugs and alcohol, and he is taking a different path in his life thanks to good mentors in his life. He just graduated from the Crime Stoppers Teen Ambassadors Leadership Program. And then we have Kennedy Walker, an LSU student and intern here at WWL, who has seen the end result of violence. She knows one of the victims who was killed in that shooting outside of a birthday party on Tulane Avenue. And lastly, Amir Baraka, a local actor who served time for killing a man. He totally turned his life around while in prison and is now hoping to do the same for our incarcerated youth. And thank you very much for joining us. And first of all, Amir, you gave us this, you sent me that video.
Yes.
Where did it come from?
Well, these videos are on YouTube constantly. I mean, this stuff is just, it's all over YouTube.
Young people actually looking at gangsters as heroes?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's fashionable now in this culture to be a gangster or a thug, and that's what young girls like, that's what the young guys like, and people are going that way.
Amir, tell us your story.
Well, I grew up just like that young guy you see with the gun. I purchased my first gun at 13 years old. I used it at 13, and I wound up taking a man's life at 14. I think I was 14 when I did that. So we were about the same age, and it was because of the environment that I lived in. My father was an absentee father. My mother was derelict in her duty. And I grew up in this culture where it was okay to do that. I was looking for approval, and when I used that weapon, I got a great applaud. I was a real guy. I don't want to use the terminology, but in my community, I was praised for doing that. We're
going to talk about what turned your life around in a moment, but Kennedy, you grew up in a totally different circumstance,
yes.
A totally different group of friends, and yet you have seen violence touch your friends.
Yes, and that's the crazy part about it. You know, I grew up with this totally sheltered life, you know, going to private school my whole entire life, and I never expected violence to reach me in the way that it has. And Zachary Nelson, which was one of the victims of the murder on Saturday on Tulane Avenue, it made it very real for me. It showed me that no matter how you grow up or the people that you're around, anything is possible. And you know, bullets, they don't have names. So to experience something like that, to lose a friend at such a young age, it was traumatizing for me.
And tell us a little bit about Zachary. He was a graduate of St. Augustine High School.
Yes.
He was working 2 jobs and going to school.
Yes, Zach went to St. Aug, was going to school to be a brain surgeon, so was not even, you know, about all of that. And then to just be, you know, we're on summer vacation from college, just going to a party with your friends, a party that I almost went to myself because of just how heavily advertised it was and all the college kids were going, so, or not just college kids, people our age, and so just to think that he was just having fun, and then all of a sudden people started shooting and he lost his life.
And Devin, tell us your story. You've had a difficult childhood.
Yeah, it's just you know, when you grow up with parents who choose drugs, who choose alcohol over your son, and it comes to the point where you have to go into your grandparents' care, which was amazing for me, because without my grandparents I wouldn't be where I would be today. And then you have my sister and my brother who struggle with drugs and alcohol as well, and then I have an uncle who struggles with alcohol. So it's all these people around me that, and I see it, and I'm just like, that's not what I want. I don't want that. They're struggling financially, struggling with life itself, and I'm like, I turn myself around and say, let me help them. So that's what I'm trying to do with my life, and help them instead of, hurting myself.
And you're doing that. You're going to be going to my sister Robin's alma mater at Southeastern this fall. Now we want to talk about some of the solutions here. And Amir, what do we need to do to change this situation?
First and foremost, I think we need to start attacking kids that are 6, 7, and 8 years old.
That young?
That young. We need them that young because about 10, 11, 12, they've already decided in the direction they want to go into. I've experienced it. I worked in all the schools here in New Orleans Parish. We have to do that. We have to get mothers to get more involved and fathers more involved in the household. You have to get involved with your kids. I understand parents that work duties. I understand parents want to do this and do that, go out and have fun. I understand that. But your main obligation is your child.
And also delaying parenthood.
Delaying parenthood is big. What we're seeing is right now, we're seeing the residue of parents who are young, 14, 15 years old, and went out and had babies for drug dealers, went out and had babies for guys who were criminal in the criminal lifestyle. So this is the residue. Some of this, a lot of this is the residue of that. So we have to beseech our young girls, do not have a baby for a drug dealer. Do not have a baby for a guy who's selling dope or who's robbing people. It's no future now.
How do you change that mindset, though, where when you were a young person, who were your heroes?
Well, Sam Scully was my hero. The drug dealers in my community was my hero.
How do you change that?
Here's how you change it. Well, here's how I changed it. It took me to go to prison, and it took me to realize that when I picked up my first book that I floundered through, I was 23 years old reading on the 3rd grade level, and I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I saw the history, and I started reading history books, and I said, oh my God, look what my people have gone through. I'm ashamed. I begin to be ashamed that they died for freedom, and now I'm relinquishing my liberty now. I'm giving up my liberty to these people and have to spend time in jail. They came here on slave ships and they were enslaved, and now I'm a slave now that I put myself in prison. So all this knowledge I started to gain, and I said, hold on, I could change my life. And one of the biggest things, Sally, here's one of the biggest lies, is that the white man is causing us to kill and sell dope. I want to say to the American people, where is this white man? I haven't seen him on a murder scene. Has anybody saw him selling drugs? Because he needs to go to jail, Sally.
Kennedy, from your perspective, what needs to be done?
I agree with you, talking to our youth and starting, with the young people. It's crazy hearing your story because it's like he looked up to his drug dealer, and at that age I was looking up to Oprah Winfrey. So I guess, it really, I was blessed to have parents who, pushed me in the right direction. So I feel like, if we have the parents, just lead their children and guide them in the right direction, then maybe, violence will stop. And hopefully that helps.
And the proliferation of guns on the street.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's crazy how easy it is to get a gun. And I didn't really think about it until this whole situation, but it is. And I have a younger brother who's 16 years old, and I would never want him to experience any of the things that I've seen, well, not personally, but heard of and things like that. But it's crazy.
And also, you said you could have been at that birthday party.
Yes.
It was well advertised. A lot of
Yes.
young people were going there. Do you feel that it's incumbent upon you, and I'm going to ask you that too, Devin, it's incumbent upon you to choose very carefully what environment you go to, because not everyone at that party was up to any good.
Definitely, 100%. And, my parents have taught me to, watch out for the company that you keep. And that party was all over Twitter. Everyone was talking about it. And to think that, if I wasn't busy that night and if I didn't have plans there, I probably would have, probably stopped by just to, check it out. And I'm so glad and I'm so blessed that I wasn't at that party, but it just has to stop, because we're just trying to have fun, and we're trying to have good fun and safe fun. And so to go out and leave your house and tell your parents see you later, and just to think that you won't come back, is just so crazy, and it's so scary for me.
And Devin, you were part of the Crime Stoppers Ambassadors program. Tell us about that.
It's amazing. I mean, going back to what they both just said about going into the youths more, and I believe Crime Stoppers, if we were able to incorporate that into the school system, especially like in elementary school, because Crime Stoppers' mission is all about preventing and solving crime. So if we're able to get to the youths and we're able to teach them about crime and what it can do to you, how you could just lose your life in 1 second. Simple like that, because of guns, because of a fight, because of an argument. I mean, how easy is it just to lose your life like that? So, I mean, if we're able to incorporate it into our youths, who knows how much of the impact it can have.
And you are an example that you make a decision. You made a decision to go a different way in life. And what do you plan to do?
Well, I took a look at the facts. Everyone in my family who did drugs or did alcohol didn't graduate high school. No one. Look where they are. I'm gonna graduate high school, which I did. I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna graduate that. And then whether or not become a teacher or become something to help juveniles in a detention center, I'm trying to help. That's my goal, and that's what I plan to do.
Well, you are all part of the solution right now. I talked to a wise person yesterday who said, yes, there are bad things in this world, but there's more good than there is evil. And we each have to make the decision to be the definition of good.
Absolutely.
And I thank you, Amir and Kennedy and Devin, for what you're doing to spread the good.
Thank you.